everybody, and thanks for joining Stamp with Tracy for today's Well Wednesday. Today I am going to focus on a couple of bundles that are retiring, and they are still available. I did check before I did the video, and they currently are still available, but I will tell you so many things have already sold out. So I hope you got the chance to get your last chance items ordered, and maybe this today will increase your interest to get maybe some more if you haven't done it already. But this Shaded Summer stamp set, as well as the Shaded Summer dies, will be retiring, and as of today they are currently still available. I absolutely love this, and I wished I would have gotten more use out of it, but I think it might be one of those ones because I love the saying so much that I may keep even though it's retiring. So we're going to make a card that I've seen it referred to as the fence card, the lattice card, and I've seen so many different people that do it and do it different ways. Of course, I came up with my own little way, but it's an absolutely beautiful card, and I'll give you a quick glance at a completed one. And again, they call it the lattice card or the fence card, and I happen to call it the fence card. I think it's more fence than it is lattice. But just to show you how we make that, and as I stated before, there are several different ways. I've seen people do it to make it easier or harder, or to get even a little bit of a different look. One of the other things we're going to be using today is the Quiet Meadow dies. And these Quiet Meadow dies also are retiring, as well as the stamp set. And the glimmer paper, some 2022-24 in color glimmer paper, and that will be retiring as well. Now, I'm not sure if my glimmer paper is actually those in colors, but that is in the current catalog that is retiring, and I believe they are on sale as well. I'll also be using the brushed brass butterflies, say that 3 times fast, and we'll be using those on our card today, and they also are retiring. And the timber embossing folder, now that I'm not 100% sure. Let me check really quick and see if that's on the retirement list. Let me just check the embossing folders. I have my catalog here real quick. The timber is not retiring, so that's great. That's still going to be in there. So let's start off by showing you how to make this card. So first we're starting off with a piece of thick, basic white cardstock. And we cut this 4 1/4, and then your cardstock is 11 inches. So instead of cutting the standard way to get the 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, we're cutting this long ways instead. So it's a full sheet of 8 1/2 by 11, cutting at 4 1/4, scoring at 5 1/2. Okay, and I do want to burnish my fold to make sure that I have a really good fold there, because it's important that that stays down. Then I'm going to be cutting off 3 1/4 inches. So I'm cutting 3 1/4 inches off. Okay, so that leaves me 2 1/4 left at the top. So that totals 5 1/2. Okay, so this is going to be our top flap. Now this we're going to cut again, but before we cut it, I want to run it through my timber embossing folder. Now instead of bringing my embossing machine over, I am just going to go ahead and lay that in there and take it right behind me real quick and go ahead and emboss that. So give me just 1 second. I am just flabbergasted by how much stuff is already sold out. I really, really am. I mean, I know that so much goes fast, but I never expected it to go as fast as it did. A lot of the in colors that are retiring and the core colors that are retiring did sell out already. The best way to see what's still available is basically going to my online store, because only items that are still available will pop up. So that's sort of the best way to figure out what's still available. So now that this has been embossed with the timber embossing folder, and you really doesn't matter what side you use, I think it both gives you the effect. I mean, one is debossed and one is embossed. So one's raised and one's debossed, but you still get the same look because of the design that it is. So we're going to cut these in 1/2 inch pieces. So I'm just going to bring it right over to my 1/2 inch here on my scoring and cutting machine, paper cutter, and I'm cutting 5 of them. That's 3. 4. And one more makes 5. Now I thought about making my cut off piece 3.5 inches and then my top flap only being 2, but I didn't like it quite as much. So this last piece that I have here is actually going to be cut in half, and that is approximately 3/8 of an inch. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I lay that down and I'm going to go up against it instead of coming down so that it doesn't move. Then these two are a little bit thinner, and you can see they may not be exact, but like I said, that's not a big deal. So these two are going to be my pieces of fence coming down versus the ones that are going across. So again, I've seen many ways of doing this. This is how I decided to do it. So I'm going to take my 2 thin pieces and I am going to put them right at the point where I want them here at the top. And I'm putting a little piece of washi tape. Now I have stuck that washi tape good against my clothing so that it doesn't stay real tight. And I'm just trying to get the same distance at the top and the bottom here. And if it's off a little bit, it's no big deal. We can correct that. So then I'm going to put another little piece of washi tape right there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my first piece of the bottom of the lattice and I'm going to lay it down right on the bottom of the back of the card base so it's flat. And I'm going to take another little piece of washi tape and I'm going to put that right there. And then I'm going to take the piece at the top and I want just a little bit from the top flap here. And I know it's hard to see looking at the white. And again, I'm just going to put a little piece of there. Same thing again. Now I have my top and my bottom pretty much determined. And I can go ahead with my other pieces. And if I don't have everything, I can easily move it because it's just washi tape. That's why I'm not gluing it yet. And one more. And put a little thin piece there. Now, on this one down here, it's going underneath of this other one pretty big, and I don't really want that when it's time to try to take it off. So I am going to redo that and just put a little bit of the line on the piece of paper underneath of me. I hope that's making sense. And I should be able to remove them pretty easy. Now I'm looking here and it looks like I'm over here further than I am over here. So I think I'm going to move this to the outside a little bit more. Try to have the same distance there. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little pencil mark. I don't really have to do this, but just to be more precise, I decided to do it this way. So I'm just going to do a little pencil mark right behind that piece of fence coming down. And it's not going to show, so it's no big deal. And then I'm going to dot my glue, and I want to use liquid glue with this, and it's just a little dot so that it doesn't squeeze out, but enough that it still holds it. I have seen some people use a window sheet here, laying down and gluing this to a window sheet. And I think that's a pretty cool idea too, but I didn't want that look. I wanted to keep this look that I have here. So now I'm going to very gently get rid of my washi tape. And you do want to be gentle. And as I said, I always stick it towards my clothes first, especially because this is embossed paper and that breaks down the fibers, which makes the paper a little bit weaker, and you want to make sure you don't peel any paper off along with the washi tape. So I remove that very gently. So now you can see that it's attached. And before I remove the top ones, I'm going to go ahead and trim off the bottom here by having my card closed. And my other one I actually cut from the top and didn't have it sticking out from the bottom, but I found it easier playing with this a few different ways to go ahead and do it that way. So now that that's there, I want to go ahead and put myself a little glab of glue to hold that in place. And I only do one at a time so that the whole thing doesn't come away. And again, just a little bit of glue behind that one. And you got to be careful with using the liquid glue to make sure that you don't use too much and it squirts out. So there we have our fence. Okay, so now we're going to do some stamping. And when I'm using this stamp from the Shaded Summer stamp set, I want different colors on it. So I'm going to color using my Stampin' Write markers. And this gorgeous grape is not going anywhere, which I'm very happy about. And I don't know how happy you are about some of the new color announcements. I was so sorry to see some of them go, but so happy to see others stay. Highland Heather, I was so happy to see that joining our core color family. I was very sorry to see Soft Suede leave. Tickled to death to see Blueberry Bushel coming back. And Pretty Peacock. Absolutely love Pretty Peacock, so I'm happy to see that coming back. And then some of the new core colors look very interesting. Bubble Bath, Pecan Pie, And of course the new 23, 25 in colors. They're all so pretty. If you've been following on my Facebook page, you've seen all the postings I've done with those. So I'm trying my best not to miss anything here. And I'm using the nice large tip of my Stampin' Right markers. I tried this with blends, but they don't work as well transferring to the, from the rubber ink, the rubber stamp or the photopolymer stamp. They do great for coloring in, but not this type of thing. So I definitely like the markers better for this, which is why, of course, I still have both. So this takes probably the majority of the time doing this coloring, and I've done some of it so we don't have to do it on the camera, on the video, and spend all that time. But this part I definitely needed to do with you. So I've got Garden Green and Gorgeous Grape. And the secret is to huff all of that to make sure that you get those colors remoistened. Leave it sit on that white paper for a second, pressing down to get that color to really absorb. And there we have it. Isn't that gorgeous? So again, that was Garden Green and Gorgeous Grape. And then I did go ahead and already stamp my Happy Birthday. And this is from the Shaded Summer Stamp Set. And then this label die is from the Meadow dies that I told you we were using tonight that are called Meadow dies. I thought maybe it had a different name. And what I did, this was a little tricky, but I cut the purple one out first. Gorgeous Grape out first, okay? Then I stamped my Happy Birthday on white, and I cut that out with the same label die. But then I took the label die and moved it in to make this one smaller. Let me see if I can make more sense by actually showing you. Of course, pretend they're not assembled on top of each other at this point. We just have the white here. So once I ran it all the way through, and of course I had stamped on it first, when I wanted to do the other end, I wanted to make it smaller, so I just lined it up and just ran it through this much. And then I came with the smaller one. And I hope that makes sense to you. Labeled that on top of this. I think I'm going to put the Happy Birthday sideways like that, because this is a little big. You'll see I did it a little bit different on this one. I just actually cut it out, and then I added some more sprigs there, but I don't think I need the sprigs on this one the way that this label is going to be here, because I think it would be a little bit too busy behind it. So there we have the Happy Birthday. And then we're going to decorate this one here. So I did the same thing with the other stamp, the larger stamp, by coloring it with my markers. And we're going to have that coming up this fence post and over a little bit onto the fence. So we're going to, I have some edges cut up here. And we're going to piece this out together by not putting everything on at one time, so that we know where we need the dimensionals to be, so that they don't come through onto the lattice that would make it stick to the back of the card. Does that make sense? So I actually am just going to go ahead and determine where I want it to be, and then add my dimensionals. And see if I can get one little strip here behind this stem. See if I get that small enough. And again, this is the edge of cutting the leftover pieces from a pack of dimensionals. There we go. So there, maybe we should put one more little one up there too. Let me just cut a little piece of this off. And we'll just put that on the bottom section of that top flower there. I know this is running a little bit longer than most of my videos because I had to do some coloring and some cutting, but I definitely wanted to do it in front of you so that you could see it. Let me see if that's, yep, that worked. So again, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't coming through the lattice so that it doesn't stick to the inside of the card. So, now I need a piece of gorgeous grape cardstock. Give me just a second to grab that. I had a piece and I actually used it to cut that label by accident. So let me remeasure it again. So I'm going to have it be, just to make sure I'm correct here, we're going to go 3.5 or 3.25 by 4.25. Because I really, really want this to show. So we're going to put that on the inside there. So we're going to add that again with some liquid glue. And I always like to stand that up to get that all the way to the bottom to make sure I'm nice and even. So that way you see that pretty purple in the back and you can appreciate the fencing more. So then on the inside, I have a piece of this glimmer paper that I was telling you about. That I'm going to use, again, the liquid glue. We're going to put that on the inside. And then on the inside, I'm going to stamp with the gorgeous grape. I love the saying, "Love you, friend." I'm going to put that up towards the top so you have room to sign it underneath. There we go. Now this is going to show a little bit of the glimmer through there, but you don't really see it unless you're really looking for it. So there we have our beautiful little fence card with the shaded summer stamp set and dies, as well as the meadow dies. And one more thing is we have a little bow. I shouldn't say one more thing, it's two more things. So we're going to take a little bow with the ribbon for the in colors. And I can't tell you for sure whether or not this is sold out. I did forget to check that. So I am going to just put that right here. And that should be fine. Putting that in an envelope, that'll just move down there. So we have that little bit of a bling on the front there. And then one of my favorite things is the butterflies. So then we'll add some butterflies. I'm going to take your pick tool, and we'll take one of the larger butterflies. Put that right there. One of the smaller ones we'll put up on the happy birthday. We'll take another one of the larger ones to put right here. Don't you love those little brushed brass butterflies? And there we have it. So I hope you enjoyed today's Well Wednesday. And you know how Well Wednesday works. I ask you to please make sure that you like and comment for a chance to win these 2 beautiful cards. You'll get those in the mail when I pick the winner, and I do that random drawing usually on Monday evenings. If you really love this stamp set or you love these dies, the meadow dies, the shaded spruce, the summer shadow, shaded summer stamp set, and summer shadow dies. They came out before we started naming our dies the same thing. And then the meadow dies. All of that is retiring. The little butterflies are retiring. They are still available. And that ribbon is retiring as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check really quick and see if I can find that ribbon. Nope, it isn't, because it is actually the 24-25, the woven ribbon, and that's the, I believe that's the Orchid Oasis color that I used here. So thanks again for joining me, everyone. And don't forget, make sure to like and comment for your chance to win. I hope you enjoyed this fence card / lattice card, whatever you'd like to call it. Thanks again for joining me. And if you have any questions at all about the last chance, or if you really want something that's in the new catalog, if you want to take a peek at it, one of the ways to do that is to sign up and join my team. That gives you access a month early to order product as well as see the new catalog. So if that interests you, just sign up or contact me if you have any questions about signing up. I always have those links on my Facebook page as well. Thanks again for joining me, everyone, and happy stamping.